Hi everyone, my name is Anmol Singh, and today I'm going to talk about the Lynn Canyon field site and the main physical processes that shape its landscape. So, as we know, during our trip, we observed a lot of features like steep canyons, wide valleys, boulders, terraces, and the fast moving water. So, all of these tell us like how the land is constantly changing by the period of time. So this presentation is mainly focused on the drainage basin, erosion and rock types, glacial history, flooding, and like the mass wasting in this area, and possibly the hazard management. So, what's the drainage basin? So, a drainage basin is the area of land where all the rain, snowmelt, and small creeks move downhill into one main creek. So, in the case of Lynn Valley, it's basically the whole catchment area that drains into the creek. And understanding the drainage basin is important because everything that happens like the uphill, such as rainfall, landslides, or rock movement, so that eventually affects the Lynn Creek downstreams. So here I talked about some factors that affect the water flow, and the biggest factors are rainfall, snow melt, the steep slopes, the vegetation in this area, and the different type of rocks the creek flows over. So in Vancouver, basically the flows are highest in fall and winter because of heavy rainfall and also high in springs from snow melt. And like the in summer it's usually the lowest flow. So yeah, it's kind of that factors influencing the water flow here. So now we talk about like different stops we did take during our field trip. So at stop one, which was the pipeline bridge. So at pipeline bridge we saw like one of the steepest canyons in the area, and the walls here were almost vertical, and the water upstream was narrow and fast rather than the downstream. And the downstream, the channel like was widened a bit. So the canyon is so steep because the Lynn Creek is cutting down quickly into hard rock, and hard rock doesn't erode sideways easily. So the creek mostly like cuts straight down and forms kind of a V shape. So here we have our stop to the 30-foot pool. So at the upstream of 30-foot pool, the creek flows through hard granite, and at the pool and downstream, the rock was soft sedimentary material. So this difference is important because the hard rocks leads to like the narrow canyons, and the soft rock leads to the wider valleys. So yeah, like 30-foot pool was formed because of the fast water carved a deeper hole in the softer rock. So that was the basic reason of the formation of this pool. So here we have our terrace. So at this top, as we saw, this terrace was created after like the melting of glaciers, and due to this, the sea level drop caused the and that leads to the Lynn Creek to cut deeper, and the all surface left high above the creek, and the mature vegetation here, like the kind of trees and plants, so that cause the long-term stability at this uphill terrace. So here we have our stop 4, which is called Dry Boulder Channel. So here the vegetation was sparse, and this tells us like the water only flows like there during rare or like in extreme flood weather. And we saw like the fallen trees and logs and kind of some slippery rocks in this area. So all of these are signs of like recent flooding and mass wasting. So like floods and landslides move trees from the upstream to the downstream. So here we have our stop 5, which is the cliff by 30-foot pool. So at this, usually like this is the east side of 30-foot pool. So we saw a cliff with layers of granite and all glacial deposits. So I do have the diagram for this. So here like we have different kind of layers. So very upper layer was soil, and after that there was a glacial sediment layer, and after this we have a glacial till layer, and to the very bottom we have the river sediments. The rocks in this area are rounded because the creek rolls and grinds them over time. And we also saw that the exposed tree roots and broken rocks was the evidence the cliff continues to erode. So here we have our stop 6, which was the Creekside. So at the Creekside, we saw the creek bed having like different kind of rock material, like granite, basalt, gravel, sand, and I do have a clear diagram for this. So, like in this area, there's a wider space as you saw here. So, like to both the sides of the floodplain, we have the cliff. Uh, Here we have the cliff, and after that, at the banks of this water flow, we have the river sediment. And as I told you in the last slide, we do have like a glacial till layer at this place also. So the grounded material was less rounded than the creek bed, and at this place, as we saw, there was a bit clear water, so it's due to like no suspended sediments. So like as we go through our different stops, so what's the vegetation difference in all the stops? So at the terrace, there was a mature vegetation, like some bigger trees and kind of some smaller vegetation. And at Creekside, we have the young vegetation, like some kind of small trees as compared to the terrace. And we do saw like some evidences of frequent flooding in Creekside. And at Mid Channel Bar, we saw some like small plants, which was the evidence of like regular disturbance in this area. So, like in valley shape differences, we have like if the valley, as we saw, the valley have the narrow canyons. So it's due to hard rock and like fast erosion. And the open valleys leads to softer rocks. And the narrow canyon experience and greatest change was due to like powerful erosion. So that was all about the valley shape. So here we have our conclusion. So as we saw, the Lynn Canyon landscape is shaped by different type of factors. Like here we have erosion, so that plays an important role in changing the landscape of Lynn Valley. And after that, the major factor was weathering, cause as you know, in the North Shore and like in Vancouver, uh, the weather changed the landscape of the Lynn Valley, and the glacial history was also an important factor. And after that, we have like flooding. So in some of the areas in Lynn Creek, there was a usual flooding happen. So that was the important factor for this landscape. And at very last, we do have the mass wasting. That was also an important factor to changing the landscape of Lynn Canyon. So thank you very much, guys, for listening me and taking part in our field trip. Thank you very much.